With the economic reality of our world today, many of us are struggling to make ends meet. And accessing basic needs like food is now a luxury. But what if I told you that there is a way that you can take control of your own food and even save more money, all from the comfort of your home? This can be an absolute game changer, both for your wallet and for your health. So no matter how little the space you have in any corner of your home, it is just about enough space for you to grow your own food, maybe vegetables, fruits, and just about anything else. So get ready, guys, because right about now, it is Farm O'Clock. Hello and welcome to yet another beautiful episode of Reflections, and I'm still your host, Cynthia Otuwaribo. In the studio with me today, we want to discuss how to grow a garden in your home. And I have with me tonight Mr. Lawal Musibau Olajire. He is an agricultural entrepreneur with over 15 years of experience working with government organizations, non-governmental organizations, and even private organizations. He's here to do justice to this topic, and we are super delighted to have you. How are you, Mr. Lawal?
It's a pleasure being here too.
Okay.
I'm very fine.
You're welcome to Reflections.
It's my pleasure.
So, very quickly, tell us what inspired you to go into agriculture.
Yeah. Thank you. My source of inspiration is, I will link it to personal experience, growing up, low income, and the need for survival, and all it took to actually scale through to this stage. Then the second one, which is quite emotional and insightful, I will say it that way, is the postulates of the Malthus in those days. Malthusian theory. Yeah, the theory has been in existence for decades. It postulated that on the long run, this is the long run now, that population will outgrow food production. I keyed into that as a secondary school teenager, and I started reading it. Karl Marx also supported, but it went extra mile by saying it's not going to be just that the food will be scarce, but the problem will come from administration, poor allocation. Now, I held on to this fact since I was very brilliant in secondary school economics, and I love that theory so much. So I keyed into that. That was where I started from. Because immediately I left secondary school, I started looking for farms to work. Wow. Yeah, that was where I started from.
Okay. So
that was what inspired me. Those were the two things.
So it's safe to say that you have enough food for yourself now.
Absolutely, I have all it takes to not to be hungry. I have all it takes not to be hungry.
Oh, wow.
To the glory of God.
Okay, so so far, have you experienced any challenges along the way? Because right now, you're not just doing it for yourself, you're doing it as a business.
Yeah.
And the much I know about you, you are also training people. I've witnessed you train a lot of young people through different government organizations. So along the way, what were the challenges that you faced?
I want to be very realistic here.
Okay.
Because I like saying the truth all the time, because that's the
as it should be.
Yeah, that's the immunity I have. I'm free to go anywhere, to talk anywhere. Life is full of challenges, and the way we handle it depends on what it is to us. Growing up has not been very easy for me, and when it became a business was when I started feeling that my livelihood should be coming from what I am doing. That was when it became a business. Then I needed to look for how to do it, how to get money, how to get capital. And the first major challenge was perception of people towards you. Let me start from social distractions. When the society wants, if you are not in those days, if you were not a medical doctor, you are not studying accounting, you won't be good in the society, and you won't be heard. So among all my peers, I happen to be the only one that held to that truth of agriculture since childhood. And I've never been distracted. In fact, I noted there was a time I wrote it down. I still have the write-up that I will not work in any organization that is not agric-oriented. Yeah, so if it's not job, I've seen jobs I declined.
White-collar jobs?
I've seen several. Sometimes I will even turn them down because if it's not, I will be depriving, if I take what is not my field, I will be depriving somebody who is actually going to fit into that. So I had the zeal, social distraction, getting people not to accept you with what you're doing. That was number one. It affected me when I got married. She wanted this. I was always on the farm, you know. And then it was not very, very obvious. But I was trying my best, paying bills, paying school fees, paying my academic pursuits, you know, all those, tidying up. The income was not sufficient enough because I was running a low business, small scale, running based on my capacity. So that was the first major, people acceptability, people not accepting. It is nowadays that the revolution has made people realize that farmers are existing. Now, first challenge was lack of acceptance, acceptability of the public. The second one is capital. Let me just put it straight. It's capital. The third one, land tenure system, you know, ownership. You can't just use somebody's property. And I even had one experience. I was in an apartment, and all the 3 plots that surrounded that house were bare and were forest-like. So I decided to put it was choking. So I contacted the owners to let me just tidy the place up and make good use of it. And I started. You know, I almost fed the whole community that time because all my neighbors, the intention was not to sell, but to cultivate and just to turn the place to treasure from.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So I planted this one with yam, this one with cassava, and the other one with yam.
Interesting.
I mean with maize.
Just to support the community.
Just to support the community.
Amazing.
Yeah. I did it. It was so, the output was so enormous. When it was time for maize, I shared around the whole community. When it was time for cassava, I involved all of them to come and harvest. Harvest one bag and go. When it was yam, we harvested and we shared. You know, land tenure system. People. The second time I wanted to use the place, I think the news spread across, and they went to the owners. The neighbors went to the owners to tell them that it's using that place to make money. You know. So I started seeing reaction. So the next time I wanted to use, I wanted to seek a request to use it again. 3 of them declined.
Wow.
So it wasn't any problem to me. I only had to understand the society, the community, perhaps jealous, perhaps. But then it was then. Now I am sure everybody wants to demolish their house and use it to start planting.
Because they are getting the benefits from it.
They need food. So that was the bitter experience I have had in terms of ownership. So that left me with, okay, if I must do it as a business, then it must be my own property or government's own property where I will have better understanding with them, and I will have my smooth business.
Okay.
So those were that was the second.
Those were like your major challenges?
Yeah, the major one.
Okay.
The major one. I think the third one is unstable economy that doesn't favor, that doesn't even appraise people who do agriculture. You know, it doesn't appraise them. It doesn't appraise them. No matter what, the strength of the economy is in the farm, and the appraiser should be.
I picked that.
The appraiser should. I expect the appraiser from the government, from the people to center more on the welfare of the farmers.
Some sort of encouragement.
Exactly. So that, I think, is not. Those were the three
major challenges that you had. I wish that we had enough time to talk about commercial farming and then self-subsistence farming. But the emphasis today is on how to grow your own personal garden. I know we had a conversation one time and you said something in the line of the food in the market today is not enough to go around anymore, and that the farmers are no longer enough to cater for the population that we have right now. So there is need for people to start farming. And then, you know, the fact that we don't have enough production is also part of what is leading to increase in the cost of these agricultural products in the market. So now let's talk about people who are listening to us and they will want to go into, you know, starting their own personal gardens from their little spaces. Where do you think would be a good place for them to start?
Anywhere is a place. There is no bad place to start, and there is no bad system to start with. At this particular juncture, I want to believe that what you are saying is sustainability, how to build sustainable living from what we with available resources that we have. Yeah, there is no bad place to start. Can start. Agriculture has gone computerized now. Yeah, in fact, in those days you have to disturb the whole earth to be able to cultivate, to do. But with technology, with smart system of farming, with hydroponics, with breeding system.
You are talking to beginners. People,
you know, I will explain to them. I will be detailed. With all those ones, with little space, you can actually get what the olden days farmers would disturb the whole area of land for. So with little space, you only need to know what to do. Now, if you want to do business as a beginner, first thing you need to have is the basis, the reason you want to do it. You know, as well as talking about people's income not being able to adequately meet. Some people don't have that problem. It's not everybody that has such problem. If your intention is to just get what you will use for your family,
of course,
you are still subsistent in reasoning. If you just want to, as a family, as a household, have a small place where you'll be harvesting and be eating, have some and a little to sell, to earn little income, to pay little bills, you are still subsistent in reasoning. Subsistence is an opposite of commercial farming. Subsistence farming is opposite of commercial
farming.
Now, as for households who are aspiring to, my ideology is that for any family to be subsistent and to have a sustainable living, they should be able to cut their cost of living by 15 to 30%.
Okay.
You do that if you go into agriculture, agribusiness, you would actually achieve that. Basically, you buy vegetables, you buy pepper. I went to buy tomatoes yesterday. It was 5 small tiny things like this for 500 naira. You know.
You went to buy tomatoes?
Yes.
I remember the last time you had a very big harvest of tomatoes.
Yeah.
What happened?
The season I am now, they are still growing. They are not yet due for harvest.
Okay.
And most times we go to the market to actually survey to know what the current price is. Yeah, that's what we do. If I go to market to buy, I go for 2 reasons: to get what I want and to actually know what it says in the market the current time. So I went to buy and to see what it sells for. So I noticed that there is a surge now, and these are the things we can do in corridors. I remember there was a professor, I don't want to mention names now, in my neighborhood. He eventually became my mentor in this when I went to university, because he worked in the same place too. So the whole of his house, the setup looks like a typical ecosystem. Yeah, once you enter through the gate, he has, as at that time, he had two gardeners. One was working within the house, the other one was working the opposite, the outside the premises. Intra and the outside. So the one outside was maintaining the flowers, the ornaments, and the ornamentals and the lawn outside. But the one inside, he maintained all the flower pots. It was a duplex, about more than 50 flower pots within the house, within the building. In the sitting room, you see flower pots, shade-loving plants, different plants like that. And he had a place, there was a lobby, like courtyard, within the duplex. There he had a swimming pool, and he put all these palms around, very beautiful. As time went on, I had to interact with the man. I usually visit him as an elderly person in the society. I always visit him. And I drew his attention to the amount of money he had spent maintaining ornamentals without having a single fruit to pluck in that house. If he had converted all those flower pots with lily, with cactus, with izora, all those flowers, if he had converted them to tomato plants, or he had put cucumber, or he had put even there are some apple, strawberries that will grow like flowers and that will still give you something you harvest and you eat. Plant vegetables, plant telferia ugu. It's also a climber that can actually shade a place for you. So I jokingly told the man that because I was trying to play with him to let him that he also lost focus at a point. So he agreed with me that that is how we have met it, and it doesn't have to be like that forever. Farming these days, sustainable livelihood for households, you have to recycle, convert to waste.
Let's quickly talk about some of the basic things that a beginner should do.
Yeah. So first, make sure you have the reason you want to do it. If you don't have problem getting money to buy food, you may feel you don't need it. You may place priority. But if you want to your interest is to make sustainable food for it. When you are talking about food, we are talking about food in terms of quality and quantity. Okay,
can we talk about the different kinds of foods that someone can plant?
If you have space, there are virtually all the plants, all the crops can grow in pots. But if the space that is available to you in your courtyard is open, is the ground, then you can actually use a small portion of the ground and partition it to grow whatever you like to grow, you want to grow. Yams can be planted in pots or in bags now. You can plant your tomatoes, you can plant your pepper, you can plant ugu, you can plant cucumber, you can plant, name it. There is nothing you cannot plant. You can plant in the open, you can sweet potatoes.
So if you're going to plant in pots, is there a special way to source the soil that you will use?
Yeah, there is no, in smart farming, in modern agriculture, we don't put much emphasis on soil these days, because we have discovered that over-dependence on soil could be discouraging at times. So if you have soil, it's okay. You can work with your soil. You can also work with byproducts of agriculture, like sawdust. Your sawdust is everywhere around the sawmills, the waste around. Scoop topsoils, you mix it together and put it in the pot, water it, and start transplanting your plant, or you can plant the seeds directly. All the recyclable materials in the community, in your household, the broken pots, plastics, bowls, paint, rubbers, tires, old tires, all these things can be recycled. Flower pots, just plant your seed, your maize, it will grow. But one thing is that it to be effective or to be economically viable for you, make sure you are buying seeds that are viable.
How can they get seeds?
Yeah, they can. There are registered organizations that sell seeds, although they are grow services. We have in Ogun State, I can mention 3 or 4. Or I also supply people when they contact,
Okay.
But let this not be just when you want to buy. I will tell you the clues you need to know.
Okay.
Now, for you to be able to get good seed, you need to have a good place to buy it that will assure you that what you're buying is good. Let me give you a clue. If you plant a seed that is not good, it will take you 10 days to regret it. You won't regret until after 10 days, because when you expect it to come out and it doesn't come, that is when regret starts. Can you pay for the time? Can you pay? Even if you can get your money back, is it the same value at that time? So we always want to be sure that when we are getting the seed from, where you are getting is a place they will certify that, okay, this one is not expired, it is still viable. And for beginners, what they can do little experiments in their houses. If you have some seeds or somebody give you or this, just get a tissue paper, dab it with water,
okay,
or put it in a bowl, arrange your seeds on top, then cover it with another one. Just make a ply, sandwich of that thing, and put water. Put it in your bedroom or on the window. Watch it grow for 3 days. After 3 or 4 days, you will see germination process starting. So if you do that, you can actually say, I planted 5, 4 did well, 4 germinated. Okay. So which is about 80% or 90%, which is okay. But if you do that, 10 days, 5 days, 7 days, it's not showing any sign of germination, you don't need to go further planting it so that you will not waste your time doing what is not going to be.
I wish we had enough time to really talk about this extensively, but in just 10 seconds, okay, your last words to the viewers.
Yeah, I would just want to, encourage us not to give up. There is hope. Yeah, there is hope.
There's hope for plenty food.
Yeah, there is hope for plenty food. And Nigeria is very promising. The reason is that we have the need. It is promising because we have situations that make us cry for help. That is the advantage. Yeah, there is hunger in the land. People are craving for low income and all these things. That is a gold mine. That is where agribusiness is necessary and is most needed.
Thank you so much, Mr. Lawal, for coming on the show with us today. All right, that is all that we can take on this week's episode of Reflection. So we are hoping that beginning from today, we are going to have farmers shooting out from this channel. Until I see you again next week, get farming and let's get more food.